Buddhist Studies to Resolve Mental Health Problems by Venerable Rung Ruang Papas Saro, Dr. Rung Ruang Lim Chupatipa. As we make tremendous advances in science and technology in modern day, we pay very little attention to the mind and its conditions. What comes as a shock to all of us is the recent news in June 2022 from Harvard University conducting a nationwide survey revealing the astonishing fact that more than 52% of Generation Z is stressed in crisis. This alarming survey addresses a serious concern of depression and anxiety in children that is growing to be a crisis all around the world. In addition, the diagnoses of children with attention deficit depression hyperactivity with anxiety, ADHD, have surged in the US over the last several years, according to a new CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, study that examined data from more than 45,000 parent responses to the 2022 National Survey with ADHD and found that in 2022, 7 million children between ages 3 and 17 had previously been diagnosed with ADHD, an increase of 1 million in 2022. The mental health problems seriously threaten the future of the world. About 2,600 years ago, on the day of the Buddha's enlightenment, he studied the mind and its functions, and he discovered that all kinds of sufferings in life, including mental illness or evil doing, were caused by the dysfunction of mind processing. The Buddha was the first one who introduced mindfulness to monitor mind conditions and then to make use of mindfulness to correct the mind if there is any dysfunction within the mind processing. This technique is called study on the truth of nature for wisdom development. The Buddha introduced the concept of studying nature to replace the beliefs in gods and magical powers as follows.
These three things monks are conducted in secret, not openly. What three? Affairs with women, the mantras, and wrong view. But these three things monks shine openly, not in secret. What three? The moon, the sun, the Dharma, nature, and discipline proclaimed by the Buddha's teachings.
Buddhism is based on facts and sciences, not miracles or supernatural powers. The success of making use of mindfulness and concentration in Buddhist practice leading to cognition development is prominent. The Buddha praised the essence of having mindfulness to safeguard the mind from any problem. In this study, we will explore the open knowledge Buddhist teachings on mindfulness for cognition development in detail so that readers will have a better understanding of the varieties of mindfulness and its applications, especially introspective learning for cognition development. The mindfulness, the concentration, and the cognition altogether are the key to success in saving mankind from the mental health crisis. In Buddhism, when speaking of the Dharma, the Buddha's words, and the truths of nature, we have to comply with the 4 rules of engagement as follows.
1. Speaking the Dharma with references to the Buddha's words, that is, in reference to the Buddhasutta. 2. Speaking the Dharma with experiences by performing the Buddhist practice to see the insight of the mind and its functions. 3. Speaking the Dharma based on facts and knowledge from insight observation. 4. Speaking the Dharma after the accomplishment to resolve the problem to be successful in the destruction of defilements.
In addition, in the Buddhist studies, we have to investigate the problem through the principle of the 4 noble truths as follows.
1. Define the problem statement clearly. That is, mental illness is a serious problem for mankind. The problem is based inside the mind before it is busted out to evil doing to the world. 2. Conducting root cause analysis to the origin of the problem. That is, starting from the dysfunction of mind processing, and then it is escalated and aggravated to be emotions of mental illness. 3. Setting up an achievable goal or objective. That is, by conducting research on Dharma to gain knowledge of insight for the destruction of the problem, the mind will be liberated, and this is the Buddhist way to make an end of suffering in life. 4. Developing an action plan to resolve the problem. That is the Eightfold Noble Path, namely the right view, the right attention, the right mindfulness, the right concentration, the right effort, the right speech, the right action, and the right neighborhood.
Buddhism is a special religion that is not concerned about God or any supernatural powers, but Buddhism will focus on studying for the truths of life within nature. Based on the threefold study strategy, Buddhism aims to study the mind. As a result, the knowledge of the mind is very robust in Buddhism. Human beings are living in the world while encountering the world through the 6 sense bases, passing stimuli into the mind by functioning sort of signal processing inside the central nervous system. Along with signals passing through the brain pathway, neurotransmitters are released at each cluster of neurons, reflecting mental phenomena of the state of mind. The consciousness occurs one particular mental phenomenon at a time as the object of consciousness. And by having a stream of consciousness, we feel a series of states of mind in thinking, dreaming, emotions, and living. Due to the dysfunction of mind processing mixed with information of individuality stored as latent dispositions inside the central nervous system, everyone, more or less, inherits a slight portion of mental problems. Typically, morality, social norms, and law will constrain our minds from taking any actions that do evil to the world. However, what we see is just the tip of the iceberg. What is hidden below is an unwholesome mind, which is waiting to burst out into a serious problem. We are living dangerously among others in crisis. The enlightenment of the Buddha can be summarized as the discovery of the truths of life and nature, that everything happening in nature is due to certain cause and effect, especially a life of a stream of consciousness, which can be described in terms of the process of dependent origination. By applying the Four Noble Truths to analyze the whole process and to gain the knowledge on how to improve life to live together in the world peacefully. After the Enlightenment, the Buddha shared this knowledge with the world, with no interest in promoting any god or even claiming to be a god. Buddhism has no intention to compete with others as a religion, but it is a common knowledge that is applicable to anyone of every religion who lives in the world and would like to develop his or her life to make an end of suffering in life. There is no need for us to convert to be Buddhist. Anyone can study Buddhism wisely. In Buddhist studies, we will study the mind and its function in detail through a special technique called insight observation, and then analyze what we experience as it really is by the Four Noble Truths to gain the knowledge to make an end of suffering in life.